Sun is out, very few clouds, and there's a look at Charles Woodson, who switches to safety. We're going to get the early look at the 49ers offense. And Alex Smith, who had his best year taking his team to the NFC Championship game a year ago. Glad you're with us. Take a knee, young man. Kendall Hunter and the 49ers will start at the 20. Well, Troy Aikman, what do you think of Alex Smith and what he showed the world last season?
Well, you know, you look at all the changes that he had been throughout his career, and then last year Jim Harbaugh coming in, and I think the thing that he did best throughout the season, as you can see, just 5 interceptions all year long.
To go along with those 17 touchdown passes, Aaron Rodgers took exception during the week when somebody called him on a conference call talking about Alex Smith, a game manager. He is more than that. Shift out of the shotgun, and the handoff is to Gore. And the all-time 49ers leading rusher gains 4 on his first carry of the season, and we'll take a look at the faces and the colleges of the guys who make up the offense for San Francisco. We start up front with Goodwin in the middle. They added him last year. Davis at right tackle. Alex Boone is now a starter at right guard. Backs and receivers, Randy Moss. 13 career touchdown catches here against the Green Bay Packers in his career. That's Moss at the top of the screen. The toss, Kendall Hunter. And Hunter is going to slide forward about 1.5 yards shy of a first down. DJ Smith makes the tackle, and now we'll look at that defense that was added to after a rough year last year. And boy, did they miss the inside pass rush last year of Colin Jenkins, who ended up in Philadelphia.
Yeah, I don't know that they anticipated coming into the year that Colin Jenkins was going to be so badly missed as he was throughout the year. Because of him no longer playing, then B.J. Raji, the nose tackle, his numbers went down because he was facing a lot of the double teams that Colin Jenkins had faced the year before.
3rd down and 2. Out of the shotgun, Smith goes down. Clay Matthews gets up in celebration. He had only 6 last year, and he starts out with his first on the opening possession.
Well, a good pressure by both outside linebackers. You see Clay Matthews, he's just relentless. He comes through the left tackle. There, Joe Staley, and then he comes down at the feet of Alex Smith, and a nice job defensively by the Packers.
Randall Cobb waits for the punt. It's a good one. Muffed at the 15, picked up. Penalty flag flies as Cobb gets to the 20. The All-Pro Andy Lee got off a good one. And a flag is thrown. David White is our referee. Mike Pereira, who is our rules official back in Los Angeles, at times may act like a referee for us today as we check in on these replacement officials. They had their big debut on Wednesday night. Now their first Sunday. Here's the call. Maybe. David White, 3 years of experience in Division II. Still waiting to get the call.
During the return, illegal block in the back, number 27 of the kicking team. The penalty will be enforced from the dead ball spot. First down.
So it's against San Francisco for a block in the back.
Yeah, C.J. Spellman right there in the middle of the screen, 27. And I think they got the one they were confused. I didn't see much that Spellman did wrong.
No, they named Spellman. They called his number. They said it was an illegal block against the kicking team. They may have marked that off the wrong way. But either way, there wasn't much contact there anyway. And all it does is give extra yardage to the Green Bay Packers, who started their own 29. With Cedric Benson in the backfield. Quick setup and throw. That's Jennings. Nice move. And Greg Jennings wrestled down right at the marker. Willis on the tackle. And the NFL's MVP, you look at his numbers from a season ago, 45 touchdowns, 6 picks. And he set team records for the Green Bay Packers almost across the board.
Well, and in talking with Aaron Rodgers yesterday, he said that the Green Bay Packers were going to get into an up-tempo offense and maybe go to the no-huddle early in this game. And prior to them coming out now with the change to measure whether or not that was a first down, they weren't in any type of real hurry up, but they were going with the no huddle, and they want to get as many snaps off as they can throughout this game.
I think there was a bit of frustration because of the officiating crew bringing that chain gang onto the field. As you said, Troy, they wanted to get it cranking here early, and one of the reasons why they want to do it is they want to tire out Justin Smith, the all-pro defensive end from the 49ers, who's going to be working on Marshall Newhouse, making just his 14th career start.
Yeah, I think not only Justin Smith, but Patrick Willis and Navarro Bowman and really that entire front seven, because it's about as fast a defensive unit as you're going to see in this league.
Handoff is to Benson. Cedric gets one. Off 3 straight 1,000-yard seasons running the football. And Cedric Benson, who was the 4th overall selection by the Bears in 05, finally got his stride in Cincinnati, and they've been impressed since he signed the second week of August to shore up the running back position here in Green Bay. Rodgers keeps it and is brought down by Aldon Smith. And they're going to throw a flag as Smith ripped his own helmet off, I believe, and get him for doing just that. Jim Harbaugh doesn't like the call. Let's take another look at the end of this play and see if Aldon Smith takes his own helmet off. It was starting to come off.
Well, we saw it in some of the earlier games as far as the helmets coming off so easily. But
unsportsmanlike conduct on the defense, number 99.
I'm not sure what Aldon Smith is doing. Clearly, he took it off himself, and you can't do that. I mean, we've seen it over the years with guys who have scored touchdowns.
The foot of Aaron Rodgers starts to lift it onto the back of the head of Aldon Smith, and then Aldon just takes care of the rest of it, and they get him for unsportsmanlike conduct.
You know, I didn't see that at first, Joe. You're right. It's the helmet coming down on the back foot of Aaron Rodgers then that lifted the helmet off. He was just taking it off and then was obviously going to put it back on. He wasn't taking it off in a means of trying to showboat, but that's how the officials took it.
And so Aldon Smith, who had 14 sacks a year ago as a rookie, gets one here, but then is flagged for unsportsmanlike conduct, and it's a first down at the 45. Handoff is to Benson, Navarro Bowman, the first one there, and a gain of just 1.
Well, what we've seen already then from the officials is in my opinion, 2 bad calls. We saw the penalty on C.J. Spillman. I didn't see that he did anything wrong on the punt. And then Aldon Smith getting called for taking his helmet off. And this is an offense, as we well know. I mean, they're hard enough to stop besides having phantom penalties called.
Second down and 9. Rodgers flushed a bit out to his left, has room, and is out of bounds near the marker. They're going to mark him down a yard shy. Let's go to Patrick O'Neill for a game break on this Sunday.
Joe, in Cleveland, Michael Vick struggling all day. 4 interceptions, down 6, 3rd and goal. You know, those 4 picks don't matter when you hit Clay Harbor as the Eagles go up 17-16 late fourth. Joe, Troy, and Penn.
It's been an odd first Sunday around the NFL with some upsets that have marked the schedule. Here it's a third down play, 3rd down and 1. Pass is gunned for a first down. That's Jermichael Finley, and the catch is made. It looked like the ball may have come out, but right now they're saying a catch and first down. And that may require a challenge flag by Jim Harbaugh, and he's going to throw it. And he is not happy. So they ruled it a catch. The ball may have come out, and Jim Harbaugh his blood pressure is way up.
Well, let's take a look at it here and see if Jermichael had it as he's going to the ground. It looked like the ball might have been moving, Joe, but I don't know that there's enough there that they're going to overturn the call. They turned Jermichael Finley loose as far as not jamming him at the line of scrimmage.
Pass. San Francisco is challenging the ruling on the field that the pass was incomplete.
It's ruled a 4-yard completion and a first down, and here's the best look at it. It looks like his left arm is under the ball the entire time.
Yeah, that's what it looks like to me as well. I mean, obviously it's a little bit loose as he goes to the ground, but you know, his left arm is under the ball, and I don't see that being overturned whatsoever.
But if nothing else, this will give Jim Harbaugh a chance to vent some of his frustration at the officials. And you could see him talk about 27. He's going back to the punt, where it looked like they flagged the wrong side. We believe the first down will stand for Jermichael Finley, who had 8 touchdown catches a year ago. He was on IR when the Packers won it all 2 seasons ago. And one of those big weapons for Aaron Rodgers, along with Jordy Nelson and Greg Jennings, game-breaking talent. Here's one more look at it. Remember, the ruling on the field is a catch, and we haven't seen anything that would overturn that call. And now what they're doing this year across the NFL is they're showing these replays, the close calls to the crowd in the stadium.
I'm sure the officials aren't real excited about that.
Well, in this case, it looks like the home crowd will like the call, agree with the call, and it should stand, but we wait for the official announcement from David White.
Talk about putting it up on the big screens here at Lambeau Field. They've got brand new big screens this year here too. They're nice.
You can see Finley pointing to him.
After review, the ruling on the field stands. San Francisco is charged to timeout. That is their first challenge of the game.
So Jim Harbaugh, who was 4 for 10 last year on challenges, is 0 for 1. And the fans here could see it on $12 million worth of high-definition scoreboards at Lambeau Field.
You know, a lot of discussion, of course, throughout the preseason about the replacement officials, and I think overall, I mean, it's a tall order for them to come in from Division II football and officiate NFL games, but you do find yourself holding your breath a lot when, when they're making some of these calls.
So does the NFL. First down with the ball at the San Francisco 42. Benson. His best carry of the day, gets 4. Take a look at the offense and the guys protecting Aaron Rodgers, and the big change is the guy in the middle, Jeff Saturday, at center.
Well, Jeff Saturday at center, yes, and obviously no stranger to NFL fans and his long tenure there with the Indianapolis Colts, and he gets the chance to snap it to another great quarterback in Aaron Rodgers, and then also there at the left tackle position, Marshall Newhouse.
Second down and 6. Rodgers slings it incomplete. With Jennings the intended receiver, it's 3rd down. Packer team has won 15 straight regular season home games. Their first possession. We welcome in a new audience. It's 3rd down and 6, and it's going to be 3rd down and 11. As Marshall Newhouse started too soon.
False start. Offense number 74. 5-yard penalty. 3rd down.
So it's 3rd down and 11. It was 3 and out for those of you just joining us for the 49ers on their first possession. Now the Packers have been helped by a couple of penalties called against San Francisco. They have a 3rd down and 11 with the ball at the San Francisco 42. 9th play of this drive. For the top 2 seeds matching up week 1. Top 2 seeds in the playoff picture NFC last year. Blitz coming. And it's Carlos Rogers who gets home for the sack. Off the edge, and Carlos Rogers, a Pro Bowler from a year ago, a loss of 7, and that will force a punt.
Well, the 49ers decide to bring everybody, and you're going to see Carlos Rogers. He comes off the slot. He's the one guy who Aaron Rodgers thinks he's going to be able to beat with the ball. He has no protection to that side, but unable to get an uncovered receiver. Good job defensively there by the 49ers and not giving up any points after some of those penalties that were called.
Before the punt by Mastay, a penalty flag flies on the far sideline.
False start. 37 of the offense. Penalties 5 yards. Still 4th down.
And Sam Shields. They didn't initially throw the flag, but Jim Harbaugh went running up to the official, jumped. And finally the flag came out of the pocket. Mastay with Kyle Williams waiting, lets it go over his head and into the end zone. So we'll take a look back. We've talked a lot about last year when the 49ers went 13-3 because of a rush defense that allowed just over 77 yards per game, which was best in the NFL, plus 28 in the turnover differential, which led the league, but it wasn't enough. A couple of mishandled punts. The New York Giants were moving on to Indianapolis, where they beat New England, and Eli Manning won his 2nd world championship.
Well, it was an old-fashioned style of football is what the 49ers played last year. They got after the quarterback, they stopped the run, they ran the ball well, and they protected the football. And when you play that style, games are tight. And we saw that in the NFC Championship game, and ultimately the turnovers that they had cost them the game.
Smith fires, and what a nice catch by Crabtree. Good for a 1st down, gain of 11. A.J. Hawk on the stop for Green Bay.
And I think guys like Crabtree, and then we talked about the other receivers that they brought in, Randy Moss and Mario Manningham, and then the tight end, of course, Vernon Davis. But last year, Vernon Davis and Crabtree, they accounted for over 50% of the passing yards for the 49ers, and the 2nd leading wide receiver for them, Kyle Williams, had just 20 receptions. So clearly that was an area where they had to get better, and they've got to be more explosive this year.
Fullback Miller in motion. Smith avoids the rush. And will go head first down across the 35. A gain of 5. C.J. Wilson on the tackle for the Packers.
B.J. Raji gets some pressure right up the middle, and he's the one who forced Alex Smith out of the pocket to scramble. And B.J. Raji, I talked about him a little bit earlier, and him then having to take care of the double teams because of the absence of Colin Jenkins. But I know Dom Capers is still hoping to reduce his snaps so he'll remain fresher as the game goes along.
Second down and 5. Smith fires high but caught. That's Crabtree, 1st down. He's got 2 on this drive. Randy Moss not on the field the last 3 plays from scrimmage. And with Manningham checking in, he will stay on the sideline as you see a 2nd down conversion.
I would expect big things from Michael Crabtree this year. You know, the fact that he was able to go through the offseason and for the most part training camp, he had a small injury that made him miss a little bit of time, but really the healthiest he's been coming into a season.
He Here's Kendall Hunter, and that's A.J. Hawk with a stop as Hunter takes it to the 49 of Green Bay, gain of 7. And now Moss back into the offensive huddle for San Francisco. He had only 3 catches in the preseason, and Mario Manningham, the former Giant, had none.
Yeah, I think everyone's still kind of waiting to see exactly, what the impact is going to be from Randy Moss. I mean, the last year in the league, 2010, bounced around between New England and of course, Minnesota. Wasn't a very good year for him, but will he be the Randy that we're used to seeing from years gone by?
2nd down and 3, and there's Randy Moss with a catch down inside the 30. Looks like he's running well as Moss gets 20 in a San Francisco 1st down.
Well, you see the respect that Randy Moss gets from Jared Bush. He's so worried that Moss is going to run by him that as soon as he threatens beyond that 12-yard area, then Jared Bush gets turned around because he's immediately then thinking that Moss is going by him deep. And that's the advantage that Randy Moss has, is because he is regarded as such a big-time deep threat that intermediate stuff really opens up for him.
Good possession by the 49ers. They have a 1st down. Pass is caught underneath. That's Manningham, the former Giant. Gets driven out of bounds by Woodson after a gain of 4.
He had a nice gain, and then looked like the ball came out right as he was getting close to the sideline, and so he ended up, losing yardage then on the spot. But Mario Manningham, how about? I don't know that I'm ever going to be able to watch him play and not think of the catch that he made in that Super Bowl.
Welcome in a new audience. 2nd possession for the 49ers, and they are on the move. 2nd down and 8. This is Kendall Hunter running to his left, bounces to the outside. And then Hunter gets popped at the end of the play after picking up 4. Morgan Burnett out there to make the hit. And it's 3rd down coming up.
As good as the 49ers ran the ball last year, of course, with Frank Gore. Frank Gore, that is, started out the year slow and then had a nice run in the middle of the year and then had a nice playoff run. But Kendall Hunter last year, I thought, really ran the ball well, and he had an outstanding camp. And they're hopeful that he'll be able to even take more of the workload off of Frank Gore's shoulders.
Randy Moss at the bottom of the screen, covered by Tramon Williams. Pass the other way, and it's out of the reach of Delanie Walker. It's 4th down.
Yeah, I think you get a look there at maybe what Alex Smith is thinking, or maybe where his comfort level is right now. He comes to his left to Delanie Walker, but he had one-on-one, as you pointed out, Joe, with Randy Moss, and yet he never considered going to Randy.
40-yard try by David Akers, who set an NFL record last year with 44 field goals made. Good snap, good hold. Kick is perfect. And the 6-time Pro Bowler, David Akers, puts the 49ers on top. It's been an emotional 1st quarter here for Jim Harbaugh, but he's happy. 49ers lead by 3. They call it Titletown in large part thanks to that man, Vince Lombardi, as we go back the other way and get ready for David Akers to kick it away after a 9-play, 58-yard drive that culminated with Akers' field goal of 40 yards. And now Randall Cobb, who returned 108 yards on opening day last year against the Saints as a rookie, watches this one go over his head. The Packers down 3, will start at the 20. Football is back. Blood has been drawn here in Green Bay. Can't find a prettier picture or a better day to be outside watching or playing football. 72 degrees. Lambeau Field, under 5 to go, opening quarter. Big drive put together by Alex Smith that resulted in 3 points, and now it's Aaron Rodgers from the 20. Handoff is to Benson. He carried it only 10 times during the preseason. Bowman on the stop, a gain of 3, and this is just a hard team to run against, as they proved last year.
Well, it is, and Mike McCarthy certainly understands that, and so he said, hey, I'm not going to bang my head against the wall and keep trying to run the ball against this front 7, and that's really another reason why they're going to the up-tempo and spread them out and try to get the ball out of Aaron Rodgers' hands quickly out on the edges.
Pass is behind the receiver, but caught by Finley. Been known for some drops around here, and he's made a couple of good catches. That was a completion of 4 yards, 3rd and 3 coming up.
Yeah, that time he was lined up on the inside of the formation. On the previous play on first down, Joe, they split him out wide as a wide receiver, and that's really one of the matchups that the Packers are hoping to take advantage of, is whoever is on Jermichael Finley. They feel pretty good about it.
Rodgers sets up and finds a receiver. That's Cobb for a first down, and the second-year player was one of the names out of the mouth of Aaron Rodgers when you said, who should we look for to add to your offense? The first guy he said was Cobb.
Yeah, Randall Cobb, who even last year Aaron Rodgers thought a lot of, said this guy is going to be an exceptional player for us. He just got great quickness, and when he's playing that slot receiver as he was there on third down, he's very, very difficult to cover.
On first down, Jennings trying to make a move, and he got a couple around Terrell Brown. He picked up 6.
You know, every week in this league, defenses are having to face some awfully good skilled players, but you know, this Packer offense, when you look at who they have, Jordy Nelson, Greg Jennings, who we just saw, then of course Randall Cobb and Jermichael Finley, and you know, they can beat you with a lot of different people. So Aaron Rodgers doesn't necessarily have a favorite guy. He's just able to look at who's defensing who and then take advantage of that matchup.
Rodgers keeps it, rolls to his right, and will hop out of bounds with a first down, chased by Aldon Smith.
And then when you do a pretty good job of covering them, then you've got Aaron Rodgers, who, as we've seen over the last 4 or 5 years, with the ability to really make things happen with his feet. And that's what frustrates a defense, is when you finally do have them all covered up and then the quarterback still picks up a first down for you.
Benson will try it again. And just running into a wall, he gets 1. First guy there, Ray McDonald. Only 3 rushing touchdowns allowed by this defense of San Francisco last year. That's tied for the 5th lowest in NFL history and the fewest in a 16-game season. And they bring back everybody with one exception. They lost Paris Harrelson to IR with a torn triceps. He was a good run defending linebacker. Play action from Rodgers, looking for Jones. Incomplete. And coverage downfield by Terrell Brown. 3rd down and 8.
Well, you're going to see the inside receiver. He takes the safety, Deshaun Goldson, out of the play. And so now you've got one-on-one on the outside. Right here's Deshaun Goldson at safety, but because of the inside route, that gets him cleared. Now it's one-on-one, and really an excellent play there on the outside by Terrell Brown.
Now 3rd down. Rodgers finds Jennings. Jennings stays on his feet but does not have enough for a first down. Actually lost a yard after the catch. Gains 5. It's 4th down. And the punt team comes on for the Packers.
Yeah, I was wondering if Mike McCarthy, based on where they were at, maybe if they get a couple more yards, maybe he goes for it. But this early in the ball game, a good decision by Mike McCarthy, just trying to pin San Francisco back.
Kyle Williams calls for a fair catch and hauls it in at the 8. Well, the first time we've seen it in 2012, Aaron Rodgers aired it out. Terrell Brown with a great play defensively for the 49ers, up 3. Look at the rookie starters today, and Troy, you and I were standing up here watching the early games, just marveling at what Robert Griffin III was able to do in his debut at New Orleans in a win, the only winner on that board.
He put on a clinic. I mean, it was impressive watching him compete and make the plays, throwing the football as well as running.
Up 3-0. Handoff is to Gore, and Frank Gore over the right side gets 5. See Jared Bush, number 24, out there for Green Bay. He's the starter at right corner across from Tramon Williams, who is, when healthy, one of the best in the game. Jared Bush, who's been known more for special teams excellence here in Green Bay, is getting the start. Devon House was hurt during the preseason schedule, and Sam Shields slid back a spot. Bush at the bottom of the screen. Tramon Williams and Crabtree paired up top. 2nd and 5. Here's Gore. Cuts upfield, and he will be brought down a couple shy of a first down as he gets 3.
You talk about the secondary that really struggled last year. Well, besides Jared Bush being the starter opposite Tramon Williams, in their base defense, Charles Woodson is making the transition to the safety position. Now, when they go to their 5 defensive backs, Charles Woodson will then slide down to the slot defensive back position, as he has always played in previous years. And since the Packers play that package 75% of the time, most of the time he's still going to be playing the same place he always has.
Back after this from your local Fox station, through 1 in Green Bay. 3-0. San Francisco as we start the second quarter. The Packers were not shut out in the first quarter at home all of last season. This good 49er defense just did that to them. Vic Fangio making the decisions there. It's 3rd down and 3. Pass is incomplete, but a penalty flag flies as Jared Bush was on the back of Kyle Williams, and it will be pass interference against Green Bay.
Yeah, it was an easy call to make. Jared Bush, as Kyle Williams is trying to come out of the route.
Pass interference.
All right.
Number 24 of the defense. Ball will be placed at the spot of the foul. First down. 68 and 67 of the offense are reporting as eligible.
So you see Jared Bush just grabbed him with both hands right at the chest. Got a lot of jersey. The official was right on top of that one, so pretty easy call to make.
Bigger offensive line with Daniel Kilgore and Leonard Davis in front of Alex Smith and in front of Frank Gore, who tiptoes over the right side and picks up 3. DJ Smith, who gets the start at inside linebacker for Green Bay, playing in place of the injured and IR linebacker Desmond Bishop, out with a torn hamstring. And there's a lot on that second-year player out of Appalachian State.
Well, there is, because Desmond Bishop was the team's leading tackler last year, and he was also their best inside blitzer. So a lot of the things that Dom Capers did from the inside linebacker position with the blitzes was done with Desmond Bishop. So a lot on his plate, that being DJ Smith.
Blitz coming, Matthews coming hard, and the pass is floated incomplete for Delaney Walker, and there is a flag down back where Alex Smith let go of the football. Clay Matthews gets up arguing, and he was coming after number 11.
Well, they were all coming after number 11, including Charles Woodson off the slot.
Personal foul, roughing the passer. Defense, number 52.
Here comes Charles Woodson here.
For the previous
and
spot.
They pick him
First
up,
down.
but then Clay Matthews becomes free. See quite the end of that, but I thought there could have been pass interference on the back end of the play, and I don't know what Clay Matthews did wrong there. I mean, obviously he comes over the back to bring him to the ground, but I didn't think he drove him or did anything extraordinary at the end of that play. I think another bad call there by the officials. I thought they missed pass interference there on DJ Smith.
In the end, it's a first down at the 40, and Frank Gore over the right side. Gore takes it to midfield. It depends on the spot as to whether it's a first down or not.
No, you wonder a little bit, Joe, because of the preseason. I know when I was watching a number of those games, there were a lot of hits in each game that I watched on the quarterback that was not called, with defensive players coming at the quarterback with the crown of the helmet. And a lot of people talked about that throughout the preseason and thought that player safety would come into question because the officials were not protecting the quarterback. And I wonder if right now, if they're going to err on the side of caution, which has always been the case. But clearly, Clay Matthews did nothing wrong on that play.
Play action from Smith. The pass to the sideline is caught by Vernon Davis, and he is right at the marker as well. Good block by Frank Gore to help Alex Smith get that one away. Saturday, it's another great week of college football action here on Fox. First, Aaron Andrews, Eddie George, and Joey Harrington get you ready for kickoff with the Fox College Saturday pregame show. And Heisman Trophy frontrunner Matt Barkley and second-ranked USC head to Palo Alto for their toughest test yet. They take on 21st ranked Stanford. Pac-12 opener for both teams. It's at 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific, and the pass caught by Crabtree. And even with the additions of Manningham and Randy Moss, we're seeing the usual guys on the outside and carrying it for the 49ers offensively. We've seen very little of Randy Moss even on the field, let alone involved in the passing game.
Yeah, he's gotten probably about a quarter of the snaps, and you know, they're being careful as to how they use him so far. I can't believe you got through that promo and you didn't mention my Bruins win last night.
That was big. They look good.
They did look good.
Saw Brandon Jacobs on the sideline, still out with that bad left knee. Second and 1. Quick setup, not a quick throw, but it's complete to Crabtree. And they have worked Michael Crabtree quite a bit in this first half. Good for 16.
Well, Nick Perry is in coverage, and he's a former defensive end. And so you're going to see him now in space, and Crabtree comes up, and Perry, because of the coverage, should take away that inside throw. But he was caught flat-footed, and Crabtree just ran up on him and then got the inside slant. And, you know, those are some of the things that he has to learn at that position.
Toss to Kendall Hunter. He got around the rookie for a bit and turned what would have been a loss into maybe a gain of half a yard as Perry made the stop. This now an area where the 49ers really struggled. Last year they were 30th in the NFL offensively inside the red zone. That's why Akers was so busy. Attempted the most field goals, 52 across the NFL, and they are at the Green Bay 14.
And that's why they have Randy Moss on the field right now, and a big reason why he's here. He should help them down here in the red zone.
Second down and 9. Smith over the middle, wide open. And there is Randy Moss, their newest weapon, and in the red zone, off the sideline, into the end zone, his 14th career touchdown catch against the Green Bay Packers.
Well, DJ Smith, we talked about him a little bit earlier, 51. He's right in the middle, and what happens is he does not carry then Randy Moss up the seam. And clearly a bust in coverage. It looked to me like DJ Smith should have carried it, and if not him, then the safety Morgan Burnett has to carry it, but neither one do, and so just a really about as easy as it gets in this league.
So Alex Smith has his first touchdown pass, and he finds number 84. That is career touchdown reception number 154. He is now second all alone as he moves past Terrell Owens, still behind the legendary Jerry Rice. But the first touchdown for the 49ers belongs to Randy Moss here at Lambeau. Randy Moss hasn't done a lot of talking since he has come to the San Francisco 49ers. He let his legs and his hands do the work here in the opening half at Green Bay. He's got career touchdown number 154, and it's 10-0 San Francisco. Green Bay will start at the 20. And so they brought him in to help in the red zone. He knows what to do when inside the 20. Aaron Rodgers and his Packers down by 10. opening half in Green Bay. Mike McCarthy is starting his 7th season in charge here with the Green Bay Packers. And when you go back and compare his first 6 seasons with certainly the legendary Vince Lombardi and Mike Holmgren, who had such a great run here with the Packers, it matches right up there with those two greats. 63-33, a Super Bowl win 2 seasons ago, took his Packers to the NFC Championship game in his 2nd season. And as far as the guys that we get a chance to talk to week after week, he is as impressive and as much control as anybody we come across. Not much gets by him. Starting from the 20, Aaron Rodgers avoids trouble and finds Jordy Nelson. First time they've looked his way, and Jordy Nelson good for 28.
That's just Aaron Rodgers keeping the play alive. He really wanted to work Randall Cobb inside, but it wasn't there, and so he flushes out to his left, and then Jordy Nelson doing a good job, one, of getting the defender working up the field and coming back and then making the adjustment to the ball. And what a great season he had a year ago.
Cobb stays in the lineup, started that play in the backfield, makes the catch out of the backfield, and a nice gain on first down of 6. Knocked to the ground by Terrell Brown.
I like what they're doing with Randall Cobb. You know, I mean, he's one of those players that he can do a lot of different things, and really the key is just getting the ball in his hands. And the way that that was done for the most part last year was as a return man, but you know, they're working him in the backfield right now and letting him line up back here, and as he did on the last play, and he's another weapon on the field.
There he is again over the right side, has a block out in front of him. Jennings couldn't sustain the block long enough. It's a gain of 3. And 3rd and short coming up.
You know, one of the things that was discussed a lot last year was that there's only one football, and you've got a lot of really good players on this offense, and the guys get frustrated. And we had a chance to talk to Jermichael Finley about that the other day, and you know, everybody seems to handle it pretty well, but now Randall Cobb, he's getting his touches.
There he is again, 3 in a row, and he's got a first down for Green Bay as Goldson knocked him down, a gain of 5.
Well, if he can master this route here, this is going to make this Packer team awfully difficult to defense. Back in my day, we called that the H-post route, and it puts a real bind on the linebackers and safeties or whoever's assigned to cover that guy coming out of the backfield.
Now Benson in the backfield. The 49ers came across early, free play. James Jones incomplete, and no flag at the end of the play. A lot of contact with Chris Culliver, but no flag there was at the start of the play.
You know, we've seen contact. You see he grabs the jersey of James Jones there with the right hand, gets a fistful. We've seen a few plays now down the field that I thought could very easily have been called pass interference that have not been called. There's a jump with Aldon Smith.
Offside. Defense number 99 lined up in the neutral zone. 5-yard penalty.
And what was it that Aaron Rodgers was just telling us the other day, that Jeff Saturday back in Indianapolis, when a guy jumped off sides, a lot of times he would not snap the ball to Peyton Manning, and Aaron Rodgers said, hey, that's something I want. I want the free play to take the shot down the field, and well, he got a chance on the last play.
So 1 flag, not 2. And it's 1st and 5 for the Packers, down by 10. Rodgers finds Jones. James Jones gets wrestled to the ground. A penalty flag is thrown. No gain on the play, and we'll get the call from David White. When Mike McCarthy, the head coach of the Packers, scouted this officiating crew, and all they have to go on is obviously preseason, he said this crew more than any other that worked in the preseason threw more flags.
Illegal use of hands. Offense number 70. 10 yards from the previous spot. First down.
They get TJ Lang. As McCarthy said, they're a very aggressive crew, and that was a pretty blatant foul by number 70, T.J. Lang.
Yeah, it was. I think it was the right call. I think Mike McCarthy's frustrated because the flag came out really late, Joe. The ball was way out of Aaron Rodgers' hand before the flag ever got thrown, and I think that's what Mike McCarthy saw. And so then he's questioning the validity of the call. But it was clearly, hands to the face by T.J. Lang.
So now 1st and 15. Pass is tipped and almost landed in the lap of Culliver. Intended for Jermichael Finley. Now 2nd down and 15.
And I got to imagine that we saw the frustration early in this game by Jim Harbaugh, and then now, of course, with Mike McCarthy. And I just think that in light of everything that happened throughout the preseason, that with every call, the coaches are questioning whether or not the officials are really on top of it.
2nd down and 15. Blitz. Fake the handoff. Pass caught by Nelson. And Jordy Nelson is knocked down at the 30. He'll be 2 yards shy of a 1st down. Terrell Brown on the stop. John Kuhn will be in the backfield on this 3rd and 2. No real huddle by Aaron Rodgers, making the call up near the line. Rodgers. Jones. What a catch. Flag is thrown. And Jones is out of bounds at the 2. Working against Culliver, and this call could go either way.
I know Jim Harbaugh is saying it should be on James Jones. Culliver never got turned around to look for the ball. But you see, James Jones gets both arms extended, and that's what the official saw, and that's why he called it. I don't know that James Jones really needed to do that.
10-yard penalty, 3rd down.
Because Culliver, he never was able to get turned back around, and he never even made a play on the ball. So James Jones really just a lack of discipline on his part and extending the arm when he didn't have to make a play on the ball himself.
And these officials hear the crowd reaction as they play that replay up on the screen here at Lambeau Field, and now it's Mike McCarthy's turn to be totally frustrated by the calls that are going against his Packers. It's 3rd down and 12. That's the 6th Packer penalty. Rodgers steps into it and finds a receiver for a 1st down. That's Jermichael Finley. And a catch in traffic. 1st down, Green Bay.
Jermichael Finley this time lines up at the tight end position, and he gets just past where the 1st down line was. Good job on his part of knowing exactly how far he had to get in order to pick up the 1st down, and Aaron Rodgers puts it right on him.
16-yard completion. Finley's had a nice half. Here's Benson. They just have not been able to get much. One good run by Benson in this 1st half. Willis made that tackle for the 49ers.
Yeah, I felt coming in, even though the Packers are sure excited about Cedric Benson, that I think there's a little bit of an unknown about him. He was out of football for 5 months and then signed a week into training camp and only carried the ball 10 times in preseason. And I don't know that we're going to get any better answer after this game because of how good the 49ers are against the run.
Cobb starts this one in the backfield. 2nd and 9. There's Cobb. Makes a move. Another. And he's got a 1st down just outside the 10 at the 11. Went around Parrish Cox and got 17.
Right here. He's going to come out and he gets Parrish Cox one-on-one. Pretty good matchup for the 49ers. But when you line up Cobb in the backfield, as we see, he's got to play a two-way break. Parrish Cox does. So he doesn't know if he's going to run that post route that I showed you a little bit earlier, or if he's going to run the out-breaking route. and it puts that guy in a very difficult position. And that's why I was saying, if he can master both of those routes, and then he'll have a seam route off of that, I'm sure, that puts a defense in a real tough position.
And it's a delay of game against the Green Bay Packers.
Delay of game, offense number 12, 5-yard penalty, first down.
Meanwhile, Cobb has 4 catches on this drive. And this will move the ball back to the 16-yard line for Green Bay, down 10.
Well, I'm starting to understand now when I said, hey, Aaron, what do you expect out of Randall Cobb this year? And he kind of smiled and said, you know, I expect a lot. Well, I was talking about the entire season. I think Aaron was smiling because he knew he was going to have a pretty big role in today's game.
On 1st and 15, end zone, a lot of contact and a flag. Finley, the intended receiver, and then he and Parrish Cox get into it as Parrish flips Finley at the end of the play.
And there went a hat too. So we got the flag and then the official throwing his hat. And Jermichael Finley looked like after he took that fall at the end that he may have injured himself.
That's Parrish Cox, number 20, who was released by Denver. Former 5th-round pick by the Broncos, and then he flipped Jermichael Finley at the end, and Finley got up limping.
Pass interference, defense, number 38. The foul occurred in the end zone. The ball will be placed at the 1-yard line, first down.
So you could see at the end of that, Parrish Cox stepping on the leg of Jermichael Finley. Finley kind of started it a little bit right there. And then right here, stepping on the outside of the right ankle of Jermichael Finley is Parrish Cox, and that's why Finley got up limping.
But I'm not so sure that was pass interference, Joe. From what I saw, it was not. And it was a ball that Rodgers just tried to fit into a tight spot. Really pretty good coverage from what I could tell. That defensive player has a right to be in position for the ball as well.
The call sets it up at the 1. Rodgers gets the touchdown to Finley. And it's Finley with the last laugh on this drive and the first points of the season and the first leap here at Lambeau.
Well, we saw Jermichael Finley. He's lined up in a lot of different positions. This time outside wide as a wide receiver. He's got the slam route against Dante Whitner, and Whitner plays soft. And so it's, you know, they're not challenging him because of his size. They're worried about the fade route then if you come up and contest it. But because he's soft, it's an easy touchdown.
It's a 3-point game, a 10-play drive. 9 of the 10 plays were through the air, out of the hand of Aaron Rodgers, including the touchdown throw, a 1-yarder to Finley. It's a 3-point game in Wisconsin. They've had this date circled on their calendar since the Green Bay Packers, who went 15-1 a year ago, had their season end in the divisional round against the New York Giants. And they're trailing San Francisco 10-7. Kendall Hunter waiting deep. Crosby will kick it away and drive it into the back of the end zone for the touchback. So Jermichael Finley had an eventful last 5 or 6 minutes, got stepped on at the end of a pass interference by Parrish Cox, then got the touchdown. 10-7, 49ers with the ball. This is America's Game of the Week. This is a good game to this point. 10-7, San Francisco on top, under 5 to play in the first half. On that last touchdown drive by San Francisco, Alex Smith completed 7 of his 8 completions to wide receivers. They've only targeted Vernon Davis once in this opening half. Here's Manningham. And Mario's got a first down for the 49ers. He picks up 11. Tramon Williams on the stop.
Well, here's what the 49ers do. They move fullback Bruce Miller out here, and then Mario Manningham is the slot. Now they get the corner. The Packers do. The corner, Tramon Williams, is out covering Bruce Miller. And then you've got Mario Manningham in the slot position working off of the linebacker, rookie Nick Perry. So formationing there by the San Francisco 49ers gives them a real advantage on that first down play.
Second catch for Manningham, who didn't have any during the preseason. It's a first down. Smith keeps it and finds his target, Randy Moss. He's got 11, just as Manningham did on the previous play. Another 49er first down, and Alex Smith is dialed in here today.
Well, you can just see these corners. We saw it from Bush. We see it from Tramon Williams there. As soon as Randy Moss comes off the ball, they're immediately turning their shoulders parallel to the line or to the sideline because they do not want to get beat deep. And it's making things awfully easy for Randy Moss then underneath. I think I'd keep him in the game and work some of that stuff more than they have.
Alex Smith has started this game 10 of 11. Here's Gore, a nice run on first down. He gets 5. Nick Perry, the rookie, on the tackle. And so the 49ers, something, Troy, we talked about in the preseason game at Denver. Only one completion in that overtime loss in the NFC Championship game to the Giants to a wide receiver. And for the most part, that's where Alex Smith is looking here in week 1 in Green Bay.
Yeah, they've gotten the ball to the wideouts, and they haven't taken a shot down the field yet. But that's primarily because of the coverage that the Packers are giving them. And they're playing a lot of help to the outside.
Smith stands in the pocket and for the second time looks for Vernon Davis, incomplete.
You know, the Packers gave up so many big plays last year. Second worst pass defense in terms of plays of 20 yards or more against them. And so because of that, Dom Capers wants to make the 49ers execute a 8, 9, 10 play drive in order to score. And so they're giving help to the outside corners and making Alex Smith work the ball underneath, which is why he's completed such a high percentage here in this first half.
On third down, Smith rolling right. Throw is incomplete for Vernon Davis, and a flag comes in late. Charles Woodson was out there in coverage, and let's take a look.
Well, Charles Woodson gets assigned Vernon Davis, and you see the grab there, and so good call by the official. The flags are just coming in late is the biggest problem. They're not calling it right away. That ball was, the play was well over before the flag came out. But Charles Woodson, who has been the most penalized Packer in each of the last 2 seasons, gets called for an obvious pass interference.
Could give him a hold, which would be 5 yards and a first down.
Holding on the defense. 5-yard penalty, automatic first down.
It's against Charles Woodson. That is 8 penalties against Green Bay here in the first half. Woodson playing in his 200th regular season game. And it's a first down with the ball inside Green Bay territory for Alex Smith. There's Randy Moss at the box.
One-on-one with no help on Jared Bush.
Instead, they hand off. That's Gore. And Frank is knocked down shy of the 45. I take it by the way you said that. Old number 8 was lining up under center with the Dallas Cowboys. You would have looked at that matchup.
Well, I think if I've got Randy Moss and then I've got Jared Bush, who was coming into this season not expecting to be the starter, and you've got him out there on Moss one-on-one with no safety help, I think I'd have to try to give that a shot.
Jim Harbaugh is going to let this thing wind down to the 2-minute warning, and why not? Keep the ball, keep Aaron Rodgers on the sideline, and sustain this drive. 2nd and 7 with 2 minutes to go in the opening half at Lambeau. 2 minutes left at Lambeau Field. The early game headliners, some of them, Adrian Peterson back way earlier than anybody expected. 84 yards, 2 touchdowns. Same for Kevin Smith. He had 2, 1 through the air, 1 on the ground. And Matt Ryan, a good start in their win against the Chiefs. 2nd and 7, up by 3 for San Francisco. Packers wanted a flag. They don't get it. Manningham has a first down. The left tackle, Joe Staley, moved early, but there is no flag thrown, and that has the Green Bay players and bench furious. Instead, it's an 11-yard completion to Manningham.
Yeah, even from here, Joe, as soon as it happened, I think everybody kind of let up a little bit. Clay Matthews certainly did. He was the one lined up, but you know, clearly Joe Staley moved well before the ball was snapped.
And they're going after Jared Bush.
Well, they should be, because right now, the last couple of snaps, they've given one-on-one on the outside to these wide receivers with no safety help, and they should be working these wide receivers in those situations.
Now it's Shields on the outside defending against Manningham. Underneath, in the air after the bobble and drop by Delaney Walker. And Charles Woodson, who has 54 career interceptions, tied for 20th on the all-time list, almost had number 55.
Really fortunate there, because usually when the ball comes up like that, as you said, Joe, we've seen it so many times from Charles Woodson. He's one of those guys that just can completely turn around a game. We've been watching it for a number of years here in Green Bay, and when the ball was up like that, typically he'll make that play.
Now 2nd and 10. Woodson at his new safety spot. Green Bay looking for another flag. It's Crabtree underneath. Sticks his head down, and he's knocked down a yard shy of a first down. A gain of 9. Burnett, third-year player out of Georgia Tech, at safety on the stop for the Packers.
Pretty good job of finishing that play, though, by Michael Crabtree, realizing he wasn't going to be able to get to the sideline and just trying to put his head down and pick up the first down.
There's his day. San Francisco will let the clock wind down, call their second timeout. They lost their first on that challenge by Harbaugh.
Still a little surprised, though, to see Randy Moss on the sidelines as much as we have here in this situation.
Ball's at the 25, 3rd down and 1 when we return. Randy Moss has been on the field for 9 of 28 offensive plays, but he does have 3 catches, 45 yards, and a touchdown. It's 3rd down and 1. Will Tukuafu is in there blocking, and it's well played by A.J. Hawk. Frank Gore got back to the line of scrimmage, and it looked like Tukuafu left too soon as well, the fullback.
Well, they pull Upati to left guard, and you're going to see A.J. Hawk. He comes underneath that, and nobody picks him up, and so he's then able to get in the hole and make a play.
A.J. Hawk forces a 4th down. Timeout here in Green Bay. Packers spent their first timeout, 59 seconds left on the clock, and David Akers, who is 1 for 1, will try from 43. Good snap, good hold, and that kick is drilled by Akers. 49ers have had 4 drives today. The first one started 3 and out, then a field goal, a 9-play drive that led to a touchdown, and now this drive covered 10 plays. The field goal from Akers. This Wednesday, are you ready for the new season of the X Factor? Simon Cowell and L.A. Reid are back. Joining them are new judges Demi Lovato and the one and only Britney Spears. The X Factor, don't miss the premiere. The new season this Wednesday, 8 Eastern, 7 Central, right here on Fox.
one of the real matchups coming into this ball game was Joe Staley at left tackle and how well he would hold up with Clay Matthews. And that's a good matchup to keep an eye on. And for the most part, Staley's done a pretty good job. And that happened very early in the game, as we saw, but he took a pretty good shot there to the nose. Clay Matthews, of course, had the 1 sack early in the game, but 2 outstanding football players there.
Obviously, and you can see that jersey is Joe Staley is catching a lot of that blood falling off the bridge of his nose. It's one thing to struggle like the 49ers did, really everybody in the NFC West did for as many years as the 49ers had to go through. But then you get all those high draft picks and you have to do something with them. And the 49ers haven't missed much. They have 3 former first-round picks starting on their offensive line, and this is a deep, well-balanced team. It was close to going all the way last year to the Super Bowl, and a pick by many to take that next step this season. Trying with a big first step here today at Lambeau. Let's check out what's coming up at halftime. Here's Curt Menefee.
Coming up on the Visa Halftime, Terry, Howie, Michael, Jimmy, and I will have highlights from a very busy opening weekend in the NFL, including a stellar debut for the Heisman Trophy winner RG3, and Mark Sanchez silencing his critics, at least for now. Anything else you can think of? I guess not. He's quiet today.
So now with 55 seconds left in the half and 2 timeouts, it's Aaron Rodgers' turn to show what he can do. Down by 6.
False start. Offense, number 75. First down.
They're trying to call it, say that Aldon Smith is the reason that Brian Bulaga, the right tackle, moved early.
Well, Aldon Smith, a defensive player, has a chance to get back. And had he drawn movement from the guy directly across from him, it would have been a different story. But instead, it's against Green Bay.
Somebody's been reading the rule book. Good job, Joe.
Just remember that one. First down and 15. 3-man rush. Rodgers buys time. Time runs out, and Aaron Rodgers, with Aldon Smith draped all over him, gets rid of it. It'll be 2nd and 15.
And when people talked about this defense last year for the 49ers, of course, a great deal of respect. They were outstanding, as we've talked about. But the one area that people would criticize, I guess some, would be the secondary. But I disagree with that. I think people just realized that they weren't going to be able to run the ball very well, and so they came out throwing, and teams threw the ball a lot against them. So their ranking overall wasn't all that high, but their yards per play given up as far as passes was concerned was actually not too bad.
3-man rush again. Finley underneath. Bowman makes the tackle. They get the 5 back plus 2 more. 3rd and long coming up. And a timeout is taken. And Green Bay, the team that takes it.
And I guess my point in all that, Joe, was that this secondary has done a relatively decent job. I mean, it's just, as we've said, a hard group to match up against. And to be put in this position, not easy. And that's why we saw the 49ers, when they had the ball offensively, they were trying to run as much time off the clock as they could, because they didn't want to give the ball to Aaron Rodgers in this offense with much time left before the half.
Well, if you're Alex Smith of the 49ers, or you are Aaron Rodgers of the Green Bay Packers, you get to practice during the week against a defense that will have a lot of the same looks as you would face here on this Sunday. That's because of the relationship between Dom Capers, the defensive coordinator of the Green Bay Packers, and Vic Fangio, who runs the defense for San Francisco.
They've been together a long time, and longtime friends, and they've worked together at various times throughout their careers for 16 years.
Vic Fangio was Capers' defensive coordinator for 9 years between Carolina and Houston. On 3rd down, Rodgers buys time, nowhere to go, and he just flips it out of bounds, incomplete. He was outside of the pocket. And with 32 seconds left, the 49ers will get it back with a timeout in their pocket.
Well, and this was my point. Just excellent coverage by the 49ers on this possession. We saw Aaron Rodgers twice here on third down as well as on second down have to try to buy some time, get out of the pocket, and still had nowhere to go with the football. That's a great job defensively, not even giving up a first down here at the end of the first half.
Green Bay called that timeout prior to the third down play. Good punt by Mastay, drives Kyle Williams back. No flag is thrown on that block, and now Williams out to the 39, and with 18 seconds left and a timeout, we'll see how the 49ers want to play it. John Kuhn made that tackle. I thought it was interesting as you look at the replay of the punt return, and there was no flag thrown for this contact right here. When you talk to Vic Fangio, who had those years as defensive coordinator, and Colin Kaepernick is now a quarterback for the 49ers here at the end of the half as they try to make something happen with 18 seconds left.
Well, I would think it'd be throwing the ball, but Kaepernick is regarded primarily as the guy they would put in to run.
Low snap, and he runs it right up the gut. And Kaepernick is to the Green Bay 45, and now San Francisco will spend their final timeout. And they can get a quick play out to the sideline and have a chance to add 3 more points.
Well, it's pretty interesting there as to what the 49ers did. They spread them out. Everyone thinks they're going to just throw the ball down the field because of not much time on the clock, but the middle of the field opens up. It was a designed run for the 49ers. Alex Smith, he's certainly well versed at being able to run the ball as well. We saw that in the playoff game, of course, for all those 49er fans. They'll never forget it, the touchdown against the New Orleans Saints. Kaepernick, a more gifted runner than what Alex Smith is, but pretty interesting putting him in that situation here with 18 seconds before the half.
There's a lightning storm going on down in Tampa, Florida, so we have a new audience joining us. San Francisco with a 6-point lead here at Green Bay, a 15-win team from a year ago. Both teams lost to the Giants in the playoffs last season. 49ers got the ball back with 18 seconds left. Got a run from Colin Kaepernick, and prior to this first down play, which should be to the sideline, Green Bay spends their final timeout. So we'll give you a recap if you're just checking out this game for the first moments. First touchdown of the day went to Randy Moss in his first year in a 49er uniform. And then Aaron Rodgers and Jermichael Finley with their first touchdown hookup in 2012. 3 field goals added to that scoring to make it a 13-7 game, and now a chance maybe. We have a 63-yard try from here for David Akers, but a quick play to the sideline for 3 more for San Francisco here on the road. And just to finish on Vic Fangio, who's done such a good job defensively for San Francisco today and slowing down Aaron Rodgers. He spent a year at Stanford with Jim Harbaugh, but he's come back to the NFL. A great year last year, and they have started out extremely well here in Lambeau. So here's the last opportunity, you would think, to get a bite of the yardage that Akers would need to have a realistic shot. This one is over the head of Crabtree. So now 6 seconds remain. In case you're wondering, David Akers' career long is 57 yards. That's David, and it would be 63 yards from here. So they need more.
Yeah, you look at these quarterbacks. You mentioned Aaron Rodgers and Alex Smith, and both of these guys have been very efficient here in the first half of this ball game. And speaking of Vic Fangio, I talked to him, and I think it's hard to play good pass defense and not give up yardage in this league the way the game's played now.
And they get a quick one to the sideline, and the answer is no. And with 2 seconds left, they're going to give it a shot. David Akers will try from 63.
Well, you can see the thinking on those last 2 plays. They're just trying to get something out quick pick up a little extra yardage, but something that if it's completed that they can get out of bounds and stop the clock. But Akers he's got a big leg. We'll see what can happen here.
He's kicking from the San Francisco side of midfield. Drills it, and it's off the crossbar and through. 63 yards from David Akers. And he gets lifted up as if he just won the game as this thing hit the crossbar, bounced up in the air, and went through the uprights to make it a 9-point game.
What's amazing, Joe, is in order to kick it 63 yards, you've got to have a low trajectory on that ball and that it wasn't blocked. That's what usually happens. That ball was just shot out of there.
Cobb was back there. That ties the NFL record for the longest field goal in NFL history. Let's go to Kurt for the Visa halftime. Start of the third quarter, 16-7. San Francisco on top here in Green Bay, and the 49ers played a terrific first half. They ended up with 3 field goals and the touchdown, but I thought defensively the job that Vic Fangio's group did against Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay offense was fantastic.
Well, I did too, because as we've talked about, they're such a hard unit to try and stop. I think one of the things that's interesting for both of these defenses that a year ago were tied for the most takeaways in the NFL. No takeaways in this game. So both offenses doing a nice job of protecting the ball. And then offensively for the 49ers, Alex Smith has come out and really started off this year very, very efficiently.
Yeah, and one of the things that led to the field goal by David Akers at the end of the half was a timeout that Green Bay took deep in their own end prior to a third down play, and eventually it led to this. Off the crossbar and through. And David Akers, look at the look in his eyes of just astonishment that he just tied an NFL record with a 63-yarder.
Well, I think the reaction says it all. I think it tells you that David Akers, really wasn't planning on making that field goal.
You can follow your favorite team all season long. Go to itunes.com/NFL. So now it's Akers in 2012, Janikowski last year, Jason Elam in 98, Tom Dempsey in 1970 with 63-yarders. Those 4 with the longest field goals in NFL history. This is Cobb trying to give the Green Bay Packers a jolt, and it's Larry Grant. After the 24-yard return, we go down to the field. Here's Pam Oliver.
Well, Joe, Jim Harbaugh wouldn't discuss any of the matchups that he likes, Randy Moss or not. He just complimented the Packers defense and said, we just got to contend with them. As for Mike McCarthy, he was very upset about penalties. He says we got to do a better job running the ball, and we have to do a better job stopping them from running the ball. No takers when I asked them about the replacement refs. Back to you, Joe.
Yeah, well, good question. I knew you would go there with them, and good work by you, and not a surprise that either head coach wanted to go on record with what we saw from that group in the first half. Both sides had multiple complaints. Handoff on first down is to Benson. He really hasn't been a factor at all. A gain of 2. Sopoaga in the middle. Big Isaac was there to stuff it for San Francisco.
Well, we heard Pam just report that Mike McCarthy would like to run the ball better than they did there in the first half. They've got 2 things working against them. First is one we've already talked about, and that is nobody runs the ball well against this 49ers defense. And then secondly, this is a Packers team that for the last couple of years has not run the ball that well. So they're fighting an uphill battle if they're going to run it any better here in this second half.
Blitz coming off the edge. Here's Jordy Nelson. And Nelson hops out of bounds just short of a first down. Culliver on the stop. Some of the first half stats. Green Bay only rushing for 24 yards. Passing yardage is advantage San Francisco. By the way, part of the 72 rushing yards for San Francisco was that 17-yard Colin Kaepernick run that set up the 63-yarder by Akers at the end of the half.
And some of the things that Colin Kaepernick did in the preseason, including a 72-yard touchdown run, has gotten this 49er staff pretty excited. And I would expect to see him at some point this year, in the early part of this year, coming in for a few plays from time to time.
Play clock was winding down. Timeout Green Bay for a 3rd and 1. 3rd down and 1. First possession, second half for Green Bay. Had to use a timeout as they trailed by 9. It was the day for Aaron Rodgers. His touchdown to Finley. They fake it to Benson. Looking to air it out. Jordy Nelson downfield is overthrown on 3rd and 1. They go for the big play, and with the incompletion, on comes the punt team for Green Bay.
Well, just a good job here. You're going to see that they try to go the play action, thinking that because it's 3rd and short, that they'll get one-on-one safety out of the middle of the field. But Deshaun Goldson doesn't bite. He keeps deep, and Aaron Rodgers, essentially just threw it up into double coverage, thinking maybe he'd just give his guy a chance. But good coverage there by the 49ers.
Fair catch, hauled in by Kyle Williams after the good punt of 55 yards by Mastay. Aaron Rodgers is frustrated. Just unleashed a 70-yard pass that fell incomplete. He and the Packers down by 9. You have to put that line in there at the top when Aaron Rodgers starts, because Matt Flynn got that last start last season against Detroit. They're trailing at home just over 3 minutes all of last year. Different story here to start 2012. 9-point game, and the 49ers start at their own 16. Alex Smith goes down in the arms of Woodson.
And that's why they like Charles Woodson up around the line of scrimmage. As you're going to see 21, he comes around the edge and he just puts a move. Like Miller was initially going to block him, and then he just let him go. And so Alex Smith, either not seeing Woodson or expecting him to then be blocked, is a little bit surprised when Woodson gets on him. But that is where Charles Woodson is most effective, and that's why the safety position, even though he's best suited for that in their base package, they prefer to have him up around the line.
Coming off the edge, quick play, and it's Manningham with a completion, a gain of 5. Let's check in with Patrick O'Neill for a game break.
Joe, let's go to Tampa, and if Carolina's going to win, it's going to be up to Cam Newton. 22-yard touchdown to Brandon LaFell, 13-7, Bucks up on the Panthers. Carolina's rush for -1 yards. Joe, Troy, and Pam.
All right, Patrick, thank you. Here it's 3rd down and 8. Extra men on the rush. Pass caught by Crabtree. Has a first down. He's out across the 35. Went around Tramon Williams, and Jared Bush did not get home as he came on a blitz of Alex Smith.
Well, everybody's going to come. They're bringing all the linebackers. They bring Bush off the edge, and then the way that they motion Crabtree, they motion him down. You're going to see what it then does to Tramon Williams. It looks like he's going to go across the formation. It gets Tramon Williams out of position, and an easy completion in the 49ers' first 3rd down conversion.
20-yard completion to Crabtree.
Black Bears cross!
Woodson looks like he's coming again. They run away from the blitz. It's Gore. And Gore is into Green Bay territory, knocked down at the 42. A.J. Hawk on the stop after a 20-yard run.
Well, this offensive line for the 49ers, they're big, but they're also athletic. And so typically when you have an offensive line that's this big, you don't see them pulling as much as the 49ers do. Right guard Alex Boone, he gets out there and leads the way along with fullback Bruce Miller. And a pretty good gain there for the 49ers.
Set. Here's Gore again. Down inside the 40 to the 38. Gain of 3. Morgan Burnett on the tackle for the Packers.
Well, this offensive line, Alex Boone, as I talked about, who is starting at right guard, was a tackle. And he's taken the place of last year's starter, Adam Snyder. And typically you don't see a guy 6'8" play the guard position because they're generally just too tall. The guards are usually much smaller guys, more of a stockier build, but Alex Boone's been able to make the transition, and he's had a nice camp, and he's played well here today.
2nd and 7, play action. Alex Smith over the middle. Wide open is Vernon Davis. And he's down inside the 10. And Alex Smith continues to pick apart this Green Bay defense. What a good start to the season for Alex, a gain of 29.
They motioned Vernon Davis across, and it looked like Jared Bush was going to pick him up and then just turned him loose, and it was zone coverage. But another bust there by the Green Bay Packers in coverage that allowed Vernon Davis to go right through the middle of it without any defenders.
And 3 plays of 20 or more yards on this drive. And now a timeout taken by Alex Smith. The play clock down to 1. 1st and goal when we come back for the 49ers here on the road, leading at Lambeau by 9. 1st down and goal for Alex Smith and the 49ers. And so far, Joe Staley has had the better of Clay Matthews.
Yeah, you know, he really has, because we haven't talked a lot about Clay Matthews. As we said, he had the 1 sack early in the ball game, but even on that play, Staley had done a pretty decent job.
Handoff is to Kendall Hunter. He gets to the edge and almost found the end zone. They're going to mark him out just outside the 1 and now say touchdown. A late call of a touchdown, and that will obviously have to be verified. And the crowd is just learning now that they've called that a touchdown, and let's take another look.
That one's going to come back, Joe. It looked like his foot's on the line there, so it's good. It looked like his left foot was on the sideline, so it's going to come back a lot further than what initially thought.
Initially, is under review.
Initially, I thought that it would just go down to the 1 inch line or 1 foot line because it was outside the pylon, but they'll go back and review that and see that he stepped out.
So we'll get the call when we come back. Under a booth review here in Green Bay. Mike Pereira is with us, former head of officiating for the NFL, our rules expert. It looks to us maybe 2 different ways Kendall Hunter is shy of getting the ball into the end zone. How do you see it back there in LA, Mike?
Same way you see it, Joe. Watch the foot on the line. That's going to put the ball dead there. Plus, when you have that shot coming toward you, the ball, in order for this to be a touchdown, has to go over or inside the pylon, and that's not the case here. So really, in both cases, it's not a touchdown. It's just whether or not they decide to put the ball back where he first touched out of bounds with that toe, or where the ball crossed the sidelines. But they're going to have to rule it short.
After review, the player's left foot was out of bounds at the 2-yard line. The ball will be spotted at the 1.5. It'll be 2nd and goal. Please reset the game clock to 9:13. 9:13.
So it's 2nd and goal for Jim Harbaugh's crew, who last year kind of played the us against the world motivational tactic. They're not going to sneak up on anybody here in 2012. People know how good the 49ers are. 13-3 last year. They beat New Orleans in a shootout in the divisional round and came up just short against the Giants. And Mike McCarthy is seeing just how good they are here in 2012. 2nd and goal. Tukuafu is in at fullback, and there was movement prior to the snap. Looked like the nose came across, and then Tukuafu started early. We'll see who it's against. There's Leonard Davis.
False start on the offense. On the running back. Be a 5-yard penalty. Second down.
That's the second time I've seen Tukuafu move early. This time it looked like the guy across from the center moved on the Green Bay side. There's big number 92, Will Tukuafu.
Well, Tukuafu, and then they bring in big Leonard Davis in that big package too. I mean, a lot of teams do that, but when the 49ers go big down here, I mean,
They go big.
They go big.
Leonard Davis is 6'6", 355, three-time Pro Bowler, former Cowboy and Cardinal. Randy Moss is at the top of the screen. Smith looking for him, completes, but he's brought down right after the catch just inside the 5 by Burnett.
And Alex Smith missed it because they go with Moss underneath, but you're going to see Crabtree, he goes to the back corner and, you know, just a break in coverage. Tramon Williams jumps him, they're in man underneath, and nobody then went with Crabtree to the corner.
This has been a secondary, Troy, for Green Bay that's looked awfully confused at times against San Francisco in this game. It's 3rd down and goal. Smith. Pass is caught by Vernon Davis for the touchdown. And a conversion on 3rd and goal by San Francisco. And Davis is rejected by the crossbar that was kinder to David Akers. But the touchdown adds to the 49er lead.
You see Vernon Davis, he's going to get across the goal line. He goes to the out route. It looked like Sam Shields, the outside corner, could have driven on that ball harder than he did. I didn't see exactly what was out in front of Sam Shields that occupied him for so long, but that was a deeper route and the ball in the air quite a while, quite honestly, Joe, at that point on the field to be able to complete that pass.
After opening the game with a 3-and-out, the 49ers have now scored on 5 consecutive drives. Vernon Davis gets the 2nd touchdown of the day, and then he missed the dunk.
Look to the outside. Sam Shields, well, he had a receiver there. He started to play it on the slant. Then as soon as he saw that they were not going to his man, he tried coming up and making a play on it. But
you know, let's talk about last year and the changes made by Green Bay. If you think about a team in Green Bay that was 15-1, with a defense that they had, last in the league, giving up over 410 yards per game, 5th most in NFL history, the highest passing yardage per game in NFL history at 0.2 under 300 yards per game, and they have shown, at least in this game, no improvement from a year ago, despite the draft picks and the changes made with Woodson switching to safety and what have you. That group is suspect again.
Yeah, well, they've definitely had some breakdowns, and you know, is it as bad as it was last year? I don't know that they've given up quite as many big plays as they did a year ago, but I think on the flip side of that, Joe, the 49ers, I think you've got to be pleased with the fact that all but 3 completions in this ball game have gone to wide receivers. Vernon Davis having 3 completions, all the rest divided up amongst Crabtree, Moss, and Manningham. And that's a pretty good sign then for the 49ers and some of the acquisitions they made this offseason.
Yeah, they have more completions in this game than in any other game a year ago, the 49ers. Alex Smith, 17 of 22 for the day, 2 touchdowns, 192 yards through the air. Here's Cobb on the return, and Randall Cobb runs into Delaney Walker shy of the 25. Saturday, it's another great week of college football action here on Fox. Aaron Andrews, Eddie George, and Joey Harrington get you ready for kickoff with the Fox College Saturday pregame show. Then Heisman Trophy frontrunner Matt Barkley and USC. Ranked 2nd, they go to Palo Alto to take on Stanford. The Pac-12 opener for both teams. Coverage of Fox College Football begins Saturday at 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific.
I think to go back to your point, Joe, though, it's a point well made because it shows you the ability to come away with touchdowns when you create big plays, and they were able to get 2 big pass completions on that possession against the Packers.
Starting from the 23. Pass is complete to Finley, and he's out of bounds with a first down, knocked out by Willis. So this is a 16-point game here in Green Bay, and I don't think anybody saw this coming from the Green Bay offense. So far, it's been pretty much a dud against the San Francisco 49ers that ended last season second in the league, giving up just over 14 points per game. They try to run it with Cedric Benson, and there is nothing there. No gain.
Well, that's why this 49er defense is so tough. You know, I mean, we talk about the front seven and the linebackers and how good those guys are, but when you've got corners like Carlos Rogers, who is willing to stick his head in there literally to make the tackle, I mean, that's good stuff.
Aldon Smith and Jermichael Finley get into it a bit. There's Carlos Rogers, who was a Pro Bowler last year, had 6 picks. Second down and 9. Jordy Nelson is forward and knocked down right at the marker. Patrick Willis back there in coverage on the stop, and with where they place it, that's enough for a first down.
Yeah, we'll see how the Packers respond to the 49ers going down and coming away with that touchdown. And you know, I think the 49ers defensively are frustrating this Packers offense because it has been an offense that has been built on the big play down the field. And other than one big completion, the 49ers have just done a really nice job of making the Packers earn each and every yard and not give them anything deep.
Here's Benson. They're at least trying to stay balanced as Benson picks up 3. Ray McDonald on the tackle.
Yeah, and that's what Mike McCarthy has always talked about is, you know, he doesn't concern himself so much with yards or yard per carry average. It really is about rushing attempts with him, and he tries to keep a defense honest. And, you know, he will continue to run the ball even if they're not running the ball particularly well. And that takes some real discipline on a play caller's part.
So far for Benson in his Packer debut, 9 carries, only 18 yards. Rodgers in trouble, spins around, gets away from Justin Smith, and then turns the play into a positive as he gets to the 49ers, almost their 49, a gain of 4.
There's a lot of work by Aaron Rodgers to try to keep that play alive and just not be able to get the ball out and find anybody down the field. And that's what we talked a little bit about there in that first half. There's been times when Rodgers has been able to buy some time, but he still just hasn't been able to find anyone open.
3rd down and 3. Play clock at 1. Quick hitter to Jermichael Finley, and that ball comes out. On 3rd and 3, Jermichael Finley had it and lost it. And a drop cost the Packers a first down.
Well, it sure did, and that really is where a receiver wants it too. When you're talking about 3rd and 3 and running a slant route, protecting the receiver, not putting it up high and exposing him. And Jermichael Finley, you know, he was plagued with the drops last year. He had 11 drops, and he drops a critical one on that last play.
Pass there. Hangs it up end over end, and this ball will take a great Green Bay bounce out of bounds at the 4. That's where they'll mark it. That's where Alex Smith, who's been the better of the 2 quarterbacks today, will go to work. Up 16. Receivers having a big day for San Francisco. Crabtree the biggest, 6 catches. Moss has a touchdown. Vernon Davis the other. 3 field goals by David Akers and a 16-point lead. Handoff is to Gore. Breaks a tackle. Got away from the young linebacker DJ Smith and picks up 7. So as we welcome you from the far sideline into our booth, here are the 49ers with the ball and with a 16-point lead, and they're taking the crowd out of it, and they have slowed down, if not shut down, Aaron Rodgers offensively for Green Bay.
Oh, they've done a nice job, and you know, really, you talk about the wide receivers getting involved in this game more so than last year, and that's certainly been the case. But the other things is that, you know, they've done the things that have gotten them to the NFC Championship game a year ago. I mean, it's really been a pretty clean game for the 49ers.
Kendall Hunter slipped and still gets a first down. Let's get a game break. Here's Patrick O'Neill with another.
All right, Joe, somebody forgot to tell Russell Wilson that he's too small to play in the NFL, or he just wasn't listening. First career touchdown pass goes to Sidney Rice. What a grab, and a good game going on in Arizona, tied at 13 in the third. Joe, Troy.
All right, Patrick, so a good game there with Seattle, a team that some picked to surprise this season. First down, San Francisco. And pressure, Alex Smith goes down, and it was Clay Matthews who got there first. He went around Staley that time, and Clay Matthews helps on the sack.
That's the speed of Clay Matthews, as you're going to see coming off the edge here. And Staley, who's done a pretty good job on him, he's just trying to run him by then Alex Smith. And the pocket inside looked like it was clean enough to where Alex could have helped him out a little bit and stepped up. But when Clay Matthews gets a sniff on the quarterback, he's a hard guy to stop, and he goes down low again for his second sack today.
They get a half each. Woodson and Matthews. Now 2nd and 15, a toss to Gore running left. And Frank Gore down the sideline, he's got a first down. So 2nd and 15 after the sack. You feel the crowd get back into it, and the Green Bay defense lets down as Frank Gore gets 16 and a first down for the 49ers.
Well, Clay Matthews, he's the one who gets penetration in the backfield and looked like he blew it up pretty well. And there was just no inside-out pursuit from the linebackers. You see A.J. Hawk, he's trying to get over there. He's not able to. And just a good job offensively by the 49ers, the offensive line. Jonathan Goodwin, the center, he pulls out, and a big gain for the 49ers.
Now on first down, it's Kendall Hunter over the right side. Gets around Smith for a bit and picks up 5 yards. DJ Smith hung on to get credit for the tackle. Call ** NFL to download NFL Mobile now and get coverage of every NFL game. 2nd down and 5. 2 minutes left in quarter number 3. Dominant on the ground. Smith has time down the sideline for Vernon Davis, and he leads him right out of bounds.
I'm a little surprised, Joe. I've talked about it a little bit, but we've seen a fair amount of one-on-one on Randy Moss when he's been in the game. Now they've got Tramon Williams, the best corner for the Packers, lined up on him, but each time either they have thrown the ball and not looked to Moss, or they've run the ball. But you know, I'm not saying that that's necessarily bad, but I would sure like to test that out one time with Randy Moss down the field and see what he's got.
Big third down here for the 49ers, leading by 16. Pass is caught by Crabtree, but knocked out of bounds by Bush, shy of the first down. And so the Green Bay defense will force a punt.
You see Matthews inside, and he's able to get pressure into Alex Smith, but good coverage. Crabtree is not able to get enough depth for the first down with the completion. And Bush was right there to make a play on it.
Only the second punt of the day for Andy Lee. Good snap by Jennings, and the punt is another good one. Fair catch just inside the 20 by Randall Cobb. That's where Aaron Rodgers and the offense for the Packers will try to get something going as they trail by 16 here in the third. Troy, take it away. Dream on by Troy Aikman. Starting from the 19, down by 16 are the Packers, and they have not been able to sustain much. Rodgers, with just one completion of over 20 yards in this game last year, had 64 during the regular season. Rodgers fires, and this one's dropped. Finley, no flag. He gets up looking for a flag, won't get it. Was in and out of the hands of Jermichael Finley, who's coming off that third down drop the last possession.
Yeah, they're trying to run a little out and up move with Jermichael Finley, and NaVorro Bowman grabs him and really got away with one. He turned him around, and Jermichael Finley could have tried to make a play on that and did, but it was a tough one to make. And Rodgers takes a hit at the end, but NaVorro Bowman got away with a hold there on Jermichael Finley.
Cobb starting in the backfield, now the slot down at the bottom. On second down, Rodgers finds him. Little room to run. Has Finley out in front of him and has a Green Bay first down.
Well, here is Randall Cobb. You're going to see Aldon Smith. He comes up the field, and he's going to sense that it's a screen. So he starts out to the flat, which is usually where that guy is, but it's an inside screen to Cobb. And so he overruns it, and they're able to get a nice gain inside with Cobb then.
Cobb's been their most consistent weapon in this game as time is running out on quarter number 3. James Jones makes a nice move. He's got a Green Bay first down, and that's the way the third quarter will end here at Lambeau Field. It's a 16-point game, 23-7. Back after this from your local Fox station. Final quarter of play about to begin. Green Bay with a couple of first down plays back to back. First Cobb, then James Jones, and down by 16 with 15 to play. First down just outside their own 47. Pass is caught by Jennings, gets one block, throws a stiff arm into Terrell Brown, and picks up 4. On that last play, Patrick Willis was standing on the sideline, and he's been over on that sideline quite a bit in the second half.
Yeah, he has. He's been coming in and out of the ball game, and for Patrick Willis, that's not really typical. He's a guy who is generally on the field all the time, but they've been subbing him pretty much throughout this game.
He's got 6 tackles in this game. He's watching from the sideline again. On 2nd and 6, and NaVorro Bowman with coverage, no flag on Finley. And now third down coming up for the Packers.
NaVorro Bowman, who last year became a starter for the first time, had a great season. Patrick Willis, he's the headliner of that group, but NaVorro Bowman, in my opinion, had every bit the year that Patrick Willis had. And I don't know that he surprised really all that many people within that staff. I think Vic Fangio, defensive coordinator, really expected coming in that he'd play well.
He led the team in tackles, was an all-pro. It's now 3rd and 6. Rodgers needs to make a play, drops it off, and somehow Jennings almost came up with a catch. But it's incomplete. 4th down, and more good work from this San Francisco defense.
You see Greg Jennings. I didn't see anything there that, well, you see him. He's Carlos Rogers. He's got his back to the ball, and there was contact made with the hands. As soon as he's trying to run the crossing route, there was definitely hands on Greg Jennings, and it's been pretty physical, really, throughout this game on both sides of the ball with the receivers.
But no flag from this replacement crew. It's now 4th down and 6, and Matt Stay's been busy. Puts the nose of the football down. And Kyle Williams with a fair catch at the 9. Been a frustrating day for the Green Bay Packers and that offense. Greg Jennings upset not getting the call on 3rd down. 49ers get it back. With basically 1 quarter to play, and this Green Bay defense has got to step up. San Francisco looking for a long drive to take some time off the clock and keep Aaron Rodgers on the sideline. Tukuafu is in at fullback. He's blocking in front of Frank Gore. And Gore gets 3 over the left side.
Well, obviously a whole different mindset right now for this Packers defense from where they were a year ago. We showed earlier that this was a team that had always played with a lead, and now to be down here in week 1 by 16 points, and a defense that just cannot give up any more points. I mean, in years past, they could give up points, but as long as they didn't give up the big play and field goals were fine. But now they can't really afford to give up points, any kind of points, and they have to make big stops early because they can't allow, as you said, Joe, the 49ers to take much more time off this clock.
See the balance. The offensive attack orchestrated by Greg Roman. A penalty flag flies as Alex Smith over the left side gets back to the line of scrimmage, but a flag in the area of a hold.
It looked like they're going to get Joe Staley with a hold on Matthews.
Holding, offense, number 72. Penalty will be half the distance to the goal from the previous spot. 2nd down.
We said 72. We think it's 74, Joe Staley.
As you see, as soon as Alex Smith starts going to the outside and the break contain, and Staley, of course, loses his balance, that he grabs Matthews.
Makes it 2nd down and 14. Could have declined the penalty and hoped for a stop on 3rd down and try and save some time. It's going to be about 3rd down and 8. Here's a toss. Kendall Hunter running to the right, and he goes down after a gain of 1. So now 3rd and long coming up with under 13 minutes to play.
And if they're able to, as we talked about, I mean, if they're able to make a stop here, and the 49ers, well, one of the concerns coming into the season based on where they were a year ago was they really needed to be better on 3rd down, and they haven't had a lot of 3rd downs here in this ball game, but they've only converted a little over 30% of them.
Last year, 31st in the league at 28%. Play clock at 5. 3rd down and 12, and they hand it to Gore. And Gore is brought down. The rookie Perry was in there. A gain of 5. Clay Matthews as well, and in the end it's a 3 and out, exactly what Green Bay defensively needed.
Yeah, and John Harbaugh, he's playing the percentages and playing the clock game, because knowing that 3rd and long, the chances of converting that aren't very good. Incompletion stops the clock. He elects then to go with the draw, knowing that in all likelihood he's not going to get the 1st down with that play call, but at least he takes time off the clock.
That's Jim Harbaugh over there.
What did I say?
Maybe he'll play the percentages on Monday night. Here's Cobb from the 25. Gets around Tremaine Brock and has a lane. A flag flies. Andy Lee can't bring him down, but there is a flag back inside the 45, and it looks like this is coming back.
Yeah, it's coming back, Joe, and rightfully so, and a flag that came out late again. but it looked to me like the right call right in the middle of the field.
If it is, it will negate a 75-yard return for a touchdown. We'll see if it isn't 59, Brad Jones right in the middle with that. And that's where they threw the flag.
There is no foul for a block in the back. The result of the play is a touchdown.
So one official overruled the other, and all of a sudden it's a game again at Lambeau Field. It's a 62-yard punt and a 75-yard return as they pick up the flag. And Randall Cobb, who's been as active and as busy for Green Bay as anybody, just brought his team back into the game. And now Green Bay will go for two. And with that 75-yard scamper, the Packers here at home trying to fight off an 0-1 start. This, by the way, if they convert, would make it a one-score game and an 8-point game if they can get it in.
Yeah, I mean, a big two-down conversion or a 2-point conversion here for the Green Bay Packers. Sure looked to me, though, like the initial call as a block in the back was the right call. I'm surprised that that was overturned.
So is he.
I think John is too.
John, his brother, is as well. So is new baby Jack. They're just confirming the score. That's what the delay is. Looking at the feet of Randall Cobb as he went down the sideline. And he stayed in.
The previous play is under review.
Well, we haven't seen anything where he really comes all that close to the sideline, but they're going to look at it as they confirm all scoring plays now. And we'll take a break. So a booth review. Haven't seen anything to think the points won't stand, but we'll get the call when we come back. Well, we're going to get the call now to verify the touchdown from David White.
After review, the player did not step out of bounds. The ruling on the field is confirmed. Touchdown.
But the bigger part of it and why Jim Harbaugh is so upset, and we'll try to get to this before the two-point conversion, is there were two blocks. The latest one, the one after Jones, was by the rookie Terrell Manning, and that certainly looked like a block in the back. But they picked up the flag. We'll get to Mike in a second. Finley at the top of the screen. Trying to make this an 8-point game, and they do, as Jordy Nelson is in to make it 23-15.
So Jordy Nelson in the slot, and he's just going to turn around and you put the ball right on him, and so there's just not enough time then for the defensive backs to make a play on the ball.
Mike Pereira is with us, and Mike, I think, and I'm not going to speak for you, but what you saw was that block by Manning that we showed the second time around, and it certainly looked, Mike, like that was a block in the back.
Yeah, I think that was. Now, I don't know which one they called. If they called Jones with a block on 59 by Jones, then that one's not a foul. But and they got together, and if that was the one, that's the right pickup there. But this one is a block in the back. Contact comes from behind on the back of the left side, and that one really should have stayed an illegal block. That block by Jones, perfectly legal. But it was the block really by 56 is the one that is the foul.
Yeah, that's why when watching it live, Joe, there was clearly a block in the back that I saw when we went back and saw it, and I thought, well, it didn't look as bad as it did when I saw it live, but we showed the wrong one. It was the one on Manning, and I guess as to Mike's point, depending on who initially they called that on, if it was on Jones, then they rightfully picked it up, but if they may have just missed the block in the back by Manning.
Either way, it's an 8-point game with that, and Crosby drives it toward the back of the end zone. Hunter will take a knee. This game just got a lot more interesting with over 11 to play in the fourth quarter at Lambeau Field. The 49ers have an 8-point lead and the ball. This week, The battle for baseball's postseason will certainly heat up. The Rays are in the Bronx to take on the Yankees. Both teams fighting for the AL East title or a wild card spot. Or you go to the NL side, the Nationals take on the Braves. Or the Tigers in that fight in the AL Central take on the Indians. Fox Saturday Baseball returns this week, 3:30 Eastern, 12:30 Pacific. Harbaugh's still hot. Why wouldn't he be? From the 20. Up by 8. Smith going to pull it down and run. And he picks up 5. A.J. Hawk on the stop. Perry, the rookie, was in there as well.
Well, really smart job there by Alex Smith, and recognizing he doesn't have anything down the field. Don't force it. If you throw it away, you stop the clock. You can't play to the clock now like you could have before with a 16-point lead. But at least he gets 5 yards off the play and does keep the clock running. Now, remind you that for Harbaugh, those plays happened, those blocks happened on his sideline. So, yeah, he's hot because he had the best seat in the house to see what happened.
2nd down and 5. They fake a toss and they hand to Kyle Williams. Pretty well played by the young linebacker DJ Smith, a gain of 3. B.J. Raji in there as well, and a 3rd down coming up for San Francisco.
Well, you could feel the momentum shift in this stadium when Cobb takes it the distance to cut this game to an 8-point lead now, and the Packers were able to get off the field on the last 3rd down, and it's going to be important then for the 49ers to mount something here and to keep this drive going.
Only 2 for 7 on 3rd down are the 49ers. Gore out of the backfield. Shields brings him down, but with the spot. Right now they're marking him shy of 1st down yardage. And already Jim Harbaugh's grabbing for the challenge flag, it looks like. It looked like Gore might have had enough, but they are marking him shy of the 30.
But from here in real time, Joe, I thought he picked it up.
I did too. Let's see. Oh, the knee's down.
The knee's down, and then where was the ball exactly when the knee goes down? We'll take a look and determine that right here.
It's down there.
It was a good spot.
Only 1 challenge remains for Jim Harbaugh. He reached for the flag. And he just threw it. So a challenge flag has been thrown.
San Francisco is challenging the spot of the ball relative to the line of game.
So you and I saw the same thing live, and looking on the replay, looked like the knee was down, ball was shy of the 30. We'll get the call when we come back. We'll get the call here momentarily. It looked like the knee was dragging, the ball was shy of the 30. It goes down prior to that last lunge. It goes down right here. We think they got the call right. It's challenged by Jim Harbaugh, and we're waiting for the call from David White.
Well, this is a big challenge by Jim Harbaugh, and it looked like even after he threw the red flag that he saw it on the big screen and realized that this likely wasn't going to be overturned.
After review, the ruling on the field is confirmed. San Francisco is charged their 2nd charge timeout, and they have no more challengers.
So out of challenges with 9 minutes to play. And they have only 1 timeout remaining. And now Randall Cobb, who has 53 receiving yards in this game, a career high 6 receptions, and is now coming off a 75-yard punt return for a touchdown, where this crew picked up a penalty flag. And what looked to be a block in the back, or missed a call, missed a block in the back. He's got another shot. Down by 8. And a fair catch at the 25. His return the last time he got a crack at it has changed the feel of this game entirely. you're just joining us, you can see the flag come flying in there after what looked to be a block in the back. The officials got together, picked it up. And with this 75-yarder, it's a one-score game.
Yeah, and I think the point being on the block in the back, initially, we're saying that maybe it was called on 59 Brad Jones, and then we go back and show that it's Terrell Manning. And the fact that the flag came in so late, which has really been a theme throughout this game, is why we don't really know who the initial call was on.
So now the ball's in Aaron Rodgers' hand, and he throws a pick. NaVorro Bowman. On the first play from scrimmage, Aaron Rodgers is intercepted by NaVorro Bowman. The All-Pro stepped in front of it, and the first turnover of this game is huge for the San Francisco 49ers.
Well, here's NaVorro Bowman, and off of the play action, he's going to come up, and then he is able to sink underneath the route. Now, there was going to be some safety help there in the middle, but Aaron Rodgers initially was working to the outside, and he just lost sight then of NaVorro Bowman and didn't know he was there until the ball came out of his hand.
Last year's MVP threw 45 touchdowns, only 6 interceptions. He's got his first, and NaVorro Bowman got him. As Alex Smith takes over at the 23. Here's Gore with Miller in front of him. Frank Gore down the sideline, still on his feet, and in for the touchdown. 23 yards from Frank Gore on the first play after the turnover.
You're going to see the pull here by Iupati, the left guard, and then Miller again. He's in front. He gets enough of, or at least forces Woodson to try to hurdle him, and then just a poor tackle on about the 5-yard line. But Frank Gore, once he goes into the end zone, I mean, he takes a shot by Tramon Williams.
On the day, 15 carries, 111 yards, and now this touchdown.
Now, the missed tackle there by Morgan Burnett, there's no excuse for that. He comes in from the safety position and just throws a shoulder on Gore, and that wasn't much effort at all, and he should have been able to make that play. But at the end, it looks like Frank Gore might have been shooken up, but he was able to get up and get off to the sideline.
It is a 15-point game here at Lambeau Field. And Frank Gore doing what he does best, backing his way this time into the end zone after the pick by Aaron Rodgers. The minute you feel like all the momentum switched to the home team, the 49ers take it right back. They get the interception by NaVorro Bowman on the first play. Frank Gore takes it in. He has his 30th career 100-yard game. 23-yard touchdown on the ground, and it's a 15-point game. And Aaron Rodgers is about to go back to work. Here is Cobb from inside the 5. And he is out to the 24. Let's go back to the interception.
Yeah, you go back and look at it. Pre-snap read, it looks like you're going to have the middle of the field wide open because it's going to be a cover 2 look. You're expecting this safety to go here, but you're expecting this safety to go here. But instead, he works to the middle. Now, because of that, Aaron Rodgers, he's going play fake back to the line of scrimmage, and then he's coming right to the middle to try to get the ball into Jennings. He misses NaVorro Bowman. That's mistake number 1. But he misreads the backside safety. So even if Bowman hadn't have been able to make that play, it was going to be a real headache for Greg Jennings because the backside safety was working to the middle of the field.
Patrick Willis back out there defending for San Francisco on first down. Rodgers, that pass is contested, broken up, and they'll throw a late flag. Carlos Rodgers is going to be flagged for interfering with Greg Jennings, and you talk about a late call.
Well, right here on the slot, Greg Jennings, and we've seen
Pass interference defense, number 22. Ball's placed in the spot of the foul, first down.
the calls on pass interference in this game, whether it's defensive holding or pass interference, have really been inconsistent at best, because we've seen some contact that's been worse than that, that's not been called. But there was clearly, hands by Carlos Rodgers. The I think the frustrating thing for everybody is the fact that the flags and the penalties are coming in so late, they're not being called as soon as they happen.
Just a 4-yard penalty as Cobb, with Rodgers having fallen down, Cobb makes the catch, goes out of bounds, and picks up 6. And Cobb has been the featured guy here offensively for Aaron Rodgers, really from about midway through the first half on.
Yeah, and then of course with the punt return for the touchdown, but he's been certainly the featured guy, as you've said, and has been very busy in this game.
On second down, Rodgers slides and now finds a man. That's Cobb again. Penalty flag is thrown on the far side of the field. Looked like Rodgers was dangerously close to the line of scrimmage. We'll get the call.
Holding, offense number 75. Penalties 10 yards from the previous spot. Replay the down.
So they get Bulaga for a hold.
Yeah, Bulaga is the right tackle, and the 49ers, they just rushed 3 guys, and he holds them with the left, is what they called. He calls it on Aldon Smith. It was on Bulaga, who was blocking Aldon Smith, and where Aaron was going and where he was in the pocket just didn't need to happen.
Second down and 13 after the penalty. Here's Nelson with Jennings blocking in front of him on second down and 13. He gets 7. So third down coming up. New audience joins us, and there's the score at the top of your screen, 30-15 San Francisco. And they have, for the most part, dominated here at Lambeau Field today. Rodgers look to his left, now spins out to his right. Throws across the field for James Jones. And Jones stays on his feet. Navarro Bowman saved a touchdown. And a rare big play from Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay offense when they needed, with 7:02 left, 49 yards to James Jones.
Well, James Jones, who was working from the bottom of the screen from Aaron Rodgers' far left all the way across the field. But the 49ers on this possession have gone with a 3-man rush, and so Aaron has had plenty of time in the pocket. And the 49ers then on the back end have done a pretty good job in coverage, but that time James Jones is able to slip in behind and get open for the reception.
Only the second completion for Aaron Rodgers of over 20 yards. Jones makes the catch on the near side, and he is inches outside the 10. He got 9. Dante Whitner on the stop for the 49ers.
And I think that's what Vic Fangio, he has to determine is, okay, do we bring more rushers and force Aaron Rodgers to get the ball out of his hands quicker, or do we rush 3, which is what they've done, drop 8, and just try to cover up all these weapons that Rodgers has to throw the ball to?
2 in a row to Jones. Rodgers, there he is! Touchdown Jones, 3 in a row. And this is a game again at Lambeau Field.
I think this might be the Randall Cobb factor. Watch Deshaun Goldson here, and when Cobb goes on the swing route, it pulls Goldson out of the middle, and it looked like it was Terrell Brown. He was expecting a little bit of help there from his safety based on the way that he plays it and then his reaction. But it just kind of shows you that in this league, if you give these quarterbacks, particularly Aaron Rodgers, you give him time in the pocket, no matter how many guys you put in coverage, you're going to find somebody open to get the ball to, and Aaron showed that on this series.
Rodgers 5 for 5 on that drive. It's an 8-point game again as the Packers go for 1 this time. Still 6:05 left at Lambeau. 49ers up by 8. Aaron Rodgers followed up the interception with a 5-for-5 drive. James Jones 3 catches, 68 yards, the last 10 for the touchdown. 2.5-minute drive. Time not a factor yet. Green Bay with 2 timeouts left. San Francisco only 1, and San Francisco with replacement officials out of challenges. They're 0 for 2 today in challenging calls on the field. So now Alex Smith is in a position where he has to go back to work and try and move the football. With 6 to go. Crosby hits it. Hunter will take it out. And Kendall Hunter gets some blocks and takes it out to the 25, and we'll look back. It's a 30-22 game at the moment. How did we get there? One of the touchdowns, Vernon Davis. Randy Moss had the first, a 75-yard punt return by Randall Cobb, and then this 23-yard touchdown run by Frank Gore followed an Aaron Rodgers interception, and Aaron just found James Jones. 3 pass completions in a row to number 89, and all of a sudden it's a 1-score game again here in Green Bay. Kendall Hunter in the backfield. He gets the ball and cuts back. Runs into A.J. Hawk and picks up 5.
Well, if you're San Francisco and you've got an 8-point lead with essentially 5.5 minutes to play, and this is what you work on, and you want to be able to run the ball, and that's something that the 49ers have done very well in this ball game. Both Frank Gore and Kendall Hunter have run the ball well and have picked up a lot of yardage, and if they're able to milk this clock down and come away with any kind of points, then they've got to feel pretty good about winning this game.
San Francisco's running for 183 yards in this game. 2nd and 5. They fake it. Smith keeps it and now drops it to Miller, the fullback. And Bruce Miller has got a first down for San Francisco with coming up on 5 minutes left in the game.
They bring in an extra lineman, and that's one of the things that the 49ers like. They give a lot of different looks within their personnel and their formationing for their running game, and the Packers know, Dom Capers knows exactly what they want to try to do. So the 49ers show personnel that shows it run, and then they get Alex Smith out with a 2-way option. They had Vernon Davis streaking through the middle, and they're able to dump it off and get the first down.
For 15 yards to Bruce Miller, the fullback. So now on first down, it's Gore, and he runs into the second-year linebacker, DJ Smith. No gain. Let's go to Patrick O'Neill for a game break.
Hey, Joe, how about this? Kevin Cobb, Arizona quarterback, forced into action. John Skelton carted off the field, apparent leg injury. All Cobb does is lead the Cardinals down the field for the go-ahead touchdown. It's now 20-16, Arizona up on the Seahawks. Joe, Troy, and Pat.
How good must that feel for Kevin Cobb? Meanwhile, here it's an 8-point game, and Alex Smith trying to take time off the clock, get his 49ers down the field. It's 2nd and 10. And they're going to have to spend their final timeout. With 4:01 remaining. And so Green Bay with 2 timeouts, San Francisco with none. And you think about this Green Bay defense from a year ago. We've talked a lot about San Francisco. Green Bay defense, the last ranked defense in the NFL, last in sack percentage. That shows how much it was Aaron Rodgers on that 15-1 record. Meanwhile, the defense has got to come up with a stop, and the attack, I think, Troy, very balanced for San Francisco, has been very impressive.
Well, it has been impressive, and I think Alex Smith has done a good job, and they've done a good job of protecting the football, and then they've done the things that allowed them to win a year ago, and predominantly right now, and that's been running the football. And it's a different mindset defensively when you're playing with a lead and what you're willing to do, as opposed to now playing from a deficit and having to make a key stop. I mean, they've got to now sell out. They can't worry about necessarily giving up something big, because they got to be able to stop the 49ers now and not give up anything on this drive, because 3 points, you know, even if it were to happen right now with 4 minutes left to play, is obviously very difficult to overcome.
It's 2nd down and 10. Extra men on the rush, and Alex Smith dumped by Clay Matthews. His 2nd of the day.
Well, when you need a play, then you depend on your playmakers to be able to do it, and Clay Matthews picks a great time to be able to get by Joe Staley and come in, and credit Alex Smith for being able to hang on to the ball, because the first thing Clay Matthews is thinking when he comes around that edge is getting the ball out of Alex's hands, and Alex maintains possession and doesn't give up the ball on the ground.
2nd full sack for Clay Matthews. He's got 2.5 on the day. Green Bay takes a timeout. They have 1 left. After football coverage, we continue. The games are over. Afterwards, stick around for the OT. Kurt, Terry, Howie, Michael, and Jimmy bring you extended highlights, analysis, interviews, a look ahead to next week's action. America's #1 postgame show, the OT, presented by Lowe's, coming up after the game here on Fox.
You know, we saw earlier in the game, Joe, was when the 49ers were backed up 3rd and 12, Jim Harbaugh ran the draw to keep the clock running. Now, with Green Bay having 1 timeout, you know, what will he do here? 3rd and 17. My guess is that he's going to either run the ball here or a high percentage pass and make Green Bay burn their last time out if that's what they decide to do, but wants this clock to keep running.
Wide snap. Smith steps up, and he's going to try and run. He gets hit as he slides. It'll be 4th down. And Green Bay will indeed spend their final timeout.
Yeah, and I couldn't really tell if that was designed quarterback run or if Alex Smith just said, I'm not going to force anything. But it looked like they're trying to run verticals and maybe take a shot, but Alex Smith decided, hey, rather than risk anything, I'll just pull it down and get what I can get.
That was borderline, by the way, by DJ Smith as his arm got up and hit the helmet of Alex Smith as he was sliding. At the end of the play, no flag is thrown, and it's 4th down and 12. Randall Cobb already has 1. Last year had a punt return for a touchdown. He's got 1 a 75-yarder 2 returns ago.
Well, it's kind of fitting that this game's going to come down to the Green Bay Packers offense and the San Francisco 49ers defense.
In a 1-score game. Good snap to Andy Lee. One of the best in the business hits it. Randall Cobb on the return, brought down from behind. And well covered downfield by Tremaine Brock. The drive will start at the 16. And there's Tremaine Brock, who was out wide to the left in the formation, shed a block and made the tackle. Only a 1-yard return. So now here we go. 3.5 to go. No timeouts for Green Bay.
Yeah, we'll see what Vic Fangio decides to do. We talked about it the last possession, just a 3-man rush. Did not come after Aaron Rodgers. Aaron was able to get the ball down the field. Right here, they're set up for a 3-man rush. Maybe they'll bring a blitzer off the edge.
Packers need a touchdown and a 2-point conversion. 4 men on the rush, and now nearly picked off by Whitner. Stepped in front of Greg Jennings and almost ended this game.
And that's what Vic Fangio decided to do. They bring the blitz off the slot. Actually, not necessarily a blitz. They brought off both edges. So it becomes a 5-man rush. And, boy, that was an opportunity there for the 49ers to ice this one.
Dante Whitner could not pull it in. 2nd and 10. Rodgers steps up and down he goes. Brought down by Ahmad Brooks. A gain of 1 No sack, but 3rd and 9 coming up.
So Vic Fangio given a little different look now. They start first down with blitzes off the slot. This time they go with a 4-man rush, but a good job there by Ahmad Brooks, who recognizes that Rodgers was taken off and gives up on the pass rush to be able to peel back and make a play.
3rd down and 9. 2 downs to get 9 yards. Rodgers fires and the pass is caught. That's Randall Cobb, and he's got enough for a first down with under 3 to play. This guy's been big today. Randall Cobb, 2nd-year player out of Kentucky.
Well, he really has, and it's easy to see why Aaron Rodgers likes him so much.
No timeouts left. First down. Jermichael Finley makes the catch. He's to the 32. With under 2.5 to go, the next time the clock stops, other than something out of bounds or an incompletion, the 2-minute warning. Quick set up and throw. First down. That's Jennings. And that'll take us to 2 minutes left in this game here at Lambeau Field. The ball is in the hands of the reigning MVP. Does he have enough to tie this game? Jim Harbaugh on your left, his 2nd year, 7th year for Mike McCarthy. How did their team start this season? 2 minutes left. Brooks came across early. We'll see if it's against 55. It looks like it's against San Francisco for a free 5 yards.
Prior to the snap, neutral zone infraction, number 55 of the defense. 5-yard penalty, remains first down.
He's just trying to get a jump. All these guys are, because they know what has to happen right here. And Justin Smith, number 94, he was standing up right in the middle of that offensive line and looked like he was just going to try to blow it up as best he could in the middle and free someone up on the outside.
Now 1st and 5. Rodgers steps out of it. Room to run. Out of bounds with a Green Bay first down. Chased by Aldon Smith, a gain of 10.
Well, they're trying to run a little game there on that side, and they rush up the field, but then Ahmad Brooks, once he tries to spin and come underneath, that's what gave Aaron Rodgers the edge and so much room to run to the outside and get out of bounds and stop the clock.
He's the Packers' leading rusher today, Aaron Rodgers, with his 27 yards. First down. A blitz coming. Rodgers gets rid of it and skips it in toward James Jones. Big pressure by Ahmad Brooks.
Yeah, Ahmad Brooks. Brian Bulaga, I'm not sure if he thought he was going to have somebody rushing from the outside or not, but he's not able to give help to the inside. It looked like he thought Paris Cox, number 20, was going to be coming from the outside on a blitz, and when he didn't, then he gave Ahmad Brooks the inside lane and a free run at Rodgers.
Been hit 8 times. 2nd and 10. And there's Ahmad Brooks again. That'll bring up 3rd and long. That sack, a loss of 7.
Well, here he is. They've been moving him around. He's been rushing on Brian Bulaga's side. This time he works the interior opposite the center. And he's been getting back there and getting a little pressure now on Rodgers.
Clock running. Pass is caught. That's Cobb again, but it will bring up 4th down. A gain of 7. will have 4th and 10 to give Green Bay even a chance.
Well, 4th down, they can't huddle, they can't call timeout to talk about it, and each of these receivers, they have to know if they're going down the field, they've got to get deep enough to pick up the first down on a completion.
Under a minute to go. Extra men on the rush. Rodgers throws it up for Nelson. Batted away. No flag. And the play made by Culliver. And the San Francisco 49ers are going to come in here to Green Bay, Wisconsin and leave 1-0. Knocking off Aaron Rodgers in this Green Bay high-powered attack.
Well, across the board, the defensive backs for the 49ers were going to give up the short pass and then count on their ability to come up and make the tackle, knowing it was 4th and 10. That's a good job by them on their part. Rodgers then tries to lay one up to Jordy Nelson up the sideline, and Culliver gets just enough, turned around, but gets his right hand on the ball to keep it from being completed.
Smith will kneel down. Parrish Cox was coming pressure on Aaron Rodgers. He had to get rid of it. And it was Culliver who made the play, and the 49ers, a day that has been at times frustrating for Jim Harbaugh. They will come out of here with their first win at Green Bay since 1990. There were upsets across the league on this opening weekend, which will continue, and one here today, as the Packers, who had won 15 straight regular season home games, lose to San Francisco and Jim Harbaugh 30-22. Ahmad Brooks, a big series, and the defense of Vic Fangio holding this Green Bay offense to just 2 touchdowns on the day.